My name is Henry Chelune Jr. I'm from Queens, New York. I'm 31 and I'm currently a graduate student for Middle Eastern Studies. Father of a 7-month-old, married for 3 years. I was born in Queens, born and raised. My father was a 48-year-old illiterate, couldn't read, couldn't write. He would use just mark an X for his name if signing things. My mother dropped out of high school because I was in her stomach. So it was not your typical white privilege American upbringing. Lived off food stamps. The only reason we went to the church is for the soup kitchen and the free breakfast. It was we weren't religious in that sense. Anytime Christmas, the Easter, it was always fights break out. Anytime a holiday was around, instead of coming together, everybody fight. Father yelling at mother, mother yelling at father. We're all like, what's going on? So we weren't, religious in that sense. I believed in God. I always have. It came in ebbs and flows. Like when I was a teenager, I thought Isa alayhi salam was an alien, because he had no father, So I never went atheist or agnostic. I knew always that God was one. Even in church, because the Old Testament says the sins of the Son cannot be atoned by the Father, and the sins of the Father cannot be atoned by the Son. So that Old Testament verse negates the Christian idea of Jesus alayhi salam dying for the sins of the world, So, and even when you go to the Bible, Isa alayhi salam says, "I have come to fulfill the law, not change. And while I'm here, not one period or tittle will be taken away." So if he says that, how is he contradicting, the law of Moses? So it just didn't make any sense, And or when he's on the cross, he's like, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" So I asked my pastor, I was like, is he talking to himself? Because if he's God and the Son of God, like it just like 2 and 2 is 4, 2 and 2 is not 9. It just didn't make any sense. And these stories in the Old Testament, like Prophet Lut alayhi salam, he astaghfirullah, he slept with his daughters, and Dawood alayhi salam, he sent the general off to die so he could marry these are prophets of God. The one that really bugged me the most was Prophet Noah alayhi salam. He, after the flood, the ark settled, and he got drunk and passed out nude. And then his sons saw him and were making fun of him. This is a prophet. Like, if the prophet of God is getting drunk, why ain't I the prophet? I don't drink. I don't walk around naked. Like, why ain't Joe Schmo the prophet? Why'd you give it to Noah alayhi salam? Like, it didn't make any sense. And, churches, and I later on learned that Sunnis, Wahhabis, Salafis, don't like when you question. Toe the line, says what it says, don't worry about it, don't think. Just bow your head, take the holy water. Like, and as I got my bachelor's degree in history, so as a pseudo historian, I need the primary sources, I need the secondary sources. I got to read it in what context. Was this revealed or was it written? So I can't just toe the line, oh, okay, no, And so, yeah, I was nominally Christian, but I was forced to go to church, so I knew the Bible, not inside and out, but, yeah. My father drilled it into my brain, work with your brain and not your back, because doing the construction work all his life, bad knees, bad back, bad shoulders. Come wintertime, he'd be leg up with his casting, so he was always like, use your brain, work with your brain, not your back. So, because he wanted us to, I could have just been like, oh, I can read and write, so, I'm better than my father, so no, like, push it. Plus, I don't like manual labor anyway. I'm actually the oldest of 4. I have 2 younger brothers and 1 sister. And my middle brother, he did 2 tours in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan. So, like, he knows about Karbala and Najaf, but he doesn't, like, I got him a Yusuf Ali translation of the Quran Kareem, and he called me one day. He's like, why is Prophet Solomon talking to ants? He can't do that. I was like, well, what are you talking about? Because when Prophet Solomon, talking to the ants, I was like, I'm not going to give you the tafsir because I don't have the turban. So, but I was like, don't you believe that God created Adam from the earth? Yeah. So why can't God let Sulaiman alayhi salam talk to the ants? You know, he cared about every living thing that much to where he didn't want to step on the ant. You know, and but even if he didn't talk to the ants, moral of the story is treat everything in creation with mercy, just like as you would want to be treated. You know, but he's very hard headed. He's very hard headed. So inshallah, he comes around. I went to St. John's United Methodist Church in Ridgewood, Queens, and at the time, the pastor of the church, it was Hispanic. So she would have one prayer service, one sermon, and she would say half of it in English and then half in Spanish. Half in English, she would go back and forth between English and Spanish because it was their Jamaat. It was so amalgamated with like whites, Germans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. So I didn't like it in that sense where it's like, oh, I gotta hear this in Spanish now. Like, just why can't? Eventually, they got 2 separate services, thank God. But I mean, I was forced, and plus, I kind of felt like I was indebted to the church since they fed us, since like I had gotten a summons because I was like hanging out in a park or whatever. My church paid for it, so I felt in debt to them. Not so much like I knew Trinity wasn't like I knew Trinity was false. I knew that was bogus. I knew the way the prophets are portrayed in the Bible. I know that was bogus, but I didn't know. Like the most I learned about Islam was in high school, 7th century, Prophet Muhammad, and they took over half the world. And that's all I knew about Islam coming out of high school. But I always knew God was one without no partners. God was one, and I knew I believed in the virgin birth of Isa alayhi salam, but I didn't like if Isa alayhi salam is the best of creation. According to a Christian, why does God have to kill him to forgive me of my sins? Why can't I just be like, yeah, Rab, I'm sorry? Like, it didn't make any sense. And when I was like, how is Jesus God and the Son of God? Like, it didn't make any sense. So you're telling me God was in the womb for 9 months, and then God was so helpless that he needed his mother to suckle on. And then 30 years later, he dies, goes to hell. Because in Christian theology, Isa alayhi salam was on the cross, and during the 3 days he was in hell, because he's taking the punishment for all of us, and then he comes back and he's resurrected. Like, it doesn't make. Why would God send himself to hell? So, and I'd be like, yeah, Pastor Carmen, if Jesus is God in the flesh, like. It just logic dictates, but it was making. And so God was dead for 3 days. Who's running the universe? I was like, who's running the universe? How am I breathing if God's dead? I might as well just start reading Nietzsche. God is dead. He came to Earth to experience what it's like to be a human. But if he's God, he knows what it's like to be a human better than I do. He created me. Like it just eventually they had enough and they were like, yo, you need to get out of here, because I would just like. Somebody, oh yeah, you're right, Henry. Oh yeah. And so too many people. I didn't get booted out. I was like 17 and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this. So I stopped going to church, and I didn't. I was homeless twice also in my early 20s, and there was the second and last time I was homeless. I was walking to a bakery in Ridgewood. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So they bake the breads for the following day. I would ask for like some rolls and some loaves, and I was just walking there and I'm like, yeah, God, if you get me out of this situation, I will worship you however you want me to. However you want me to. So I did that dua. I didn't know it was a dua, but I supplicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very next day, I walked from my old neighborhood to City Field in Elmhurst where the New York Mets play. And after that was Flushing. And there was a school that said, earn your GED and get associate's degree at the same time. And I was a high school dropout. I dropped out in the 12th grade. And so I was like, I need a GED. Associates would be nice. So I went in, took the exam. I passed. And then the next day, I got a job at a supermarket. And then one of my friends needed a job. So their parents came to me. He's like, can you get my son a job? I was like, I need a place to live. Oh, we'll rent you a room. Just get my son a job. I got him the job. And literally in 72 hours. 72 hours. I had a job. I was in school. And I had a place. And I was like, okay, so how do you want me to worship you? So when I was going for my associates, some very good friends of mine from Bangladesh I met. And it was funny because, actually, backtrack. The night before, I was with my friend Chris, And he was like, yo, you know Muslim women don't shave their legs? I was like, one, that's none of my business. And two, I don't believe you. So the brothers from Bangladesh, I was like, do your women shave their legs? He's like, one, that's rude. And two, like, you know, we just started talking about Islam. And I was like, so what about Jesus? Like, oh, we believe in the virgin birth. Die for our sins? No, okay. And so they handed me the Quran. And for like the next 3-4 months, I had the Quran and the Bible, just cross-referencing. And I was like, Islam, Tawheed, oneness of God. Jesus is a prophet, alayhi salam. He didn't die for the sins of the world. Like, this is what I believe already. This is in my nafs. So and wallahi, I wish I was making this up. I wish I was making all of this up because it just happened too fast. And I was just and in January 2006, I went to the Jamaica Muslim Center, JMC, with Imam Shamsi Ali. I took my shahada. I was one of like 3 other people. And I took my shahada. Oh, assalamu alaikum, welcome to Islam. I didn't get a prayer rug. I didn't get Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. Oh, welcome to Islam. You're a brand new baby now. All your sins before that. I didn't know which direction was Mecca. I didn't know how to pray. And like the follow-up was so poor. They even with my shahada, I was still eating bacon. I was drinking beer, smoking pot. Like I didn't know. I got tattoos. I didn't know what was halal, haram, makruh, you know? So from like 06 maybe until like, it's like a good 5-6 years I was in Islam, but not even, I was a Muslim by name. And I dropped the pork, that was easy. Eventually it started coming together but even now, even now, the dua I made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm still not doing my end. And he's still doing his end for me. Like, I'm in London on Al-Hudaydah TV. Like, come on, I know way more people who deserve to be in the seat right now. I knew there was rules, but I didn't know what were the rules. And see, in Queens, a lot of the masjids are like for instance, there's a big South Asian community, Bangladesh, Pakistan. And so their masjids are basically like club meds for like people from Dhaka, people from Islamabad. Like the khutbahs are in Urdu or Bangla. So I would just sit there and I'm the only white guy. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm getting credit for this because I'm here, my name's written down with the angels. But it was no follow-up, man. No follow-up. And, it sucks, because then when I started learning, I did the same thing that I did in the church. I'm like, yeah, Imam, like, the 12 caliphs. Who this hadith says there'll be 12 caliphs after me, all from Quraysh. Who are the 12? But this guy down the street can name me 12 like that. Oh, no, don't listen to them. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Muawiyah, Yazid. I'm like, okay, sure. And what's funny though? Well, when I took my shahada, I asked about the Shia. I was like, who are the Shia? Don't worry about them. Just avoid them. It's in their Aqidah to lie. They do taqi all the time. And I was like, whatever, fine. So I left the Shia thing alone. Come 2.5 years ago, I was sitting in my old, I don't even want to say it's mine, but I was in Masjid Taco in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and I was waiting for the Adhan to come in, and one of the, I wouldn't even say Maulana, that's giving the man too much credit. There was somebody in there like just going off on his other brother because he had a Shia roommate. He was like, yo, they're kafirs, you can't be rooming with him, don't eat his meat, it's not halal, They turn off the lights and with the women, the muta, And as he's going off, they worship Ali alayhi salam, astaghfirullah, like all these things he's rattling off. I'm like, there is no way in high heaven people actually believe that. There's no way that somebody's Aqidah. No way. And so what I did was, I went, not really, basically down the street, so Masjid Al-Hudaydah, Islamic Guidance Center, in the Atlantic Avenue, by the Barclay Center. And I embedded myself at the Shia Masjid for 2 weeks. Question after question after question after question. I was there for like hours, for 2 weeks straight. Then they gave me books and I read it. And so I read Then I Was Guided. And the way Dr. Chijani went about it, how he would only take hadith that both sides agree on, and of course the Quran. So I was like, that sounds pretty foolproof. So I did it. And I would just, even before I accepted Shia Islam, I would be defending the Shia. Like there's a Yemeni deli I used to they used to support my dawah. So they had like pamphlets and they gave out all the Qurans. And so I was like, nah, man, that's not true. Oh, but I'm from Yemen. I know the Houthis. Okay, but this is their beliefs, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a hadith where Imam Ali alayhi salam hemmed up a tent and set it on fire for somebody saying he was God. Astaghfirullah. You know? So I was like, nah. They're like, yo, you better calm down, Haroon. I want to think you're a Shia. I was like, whatever, man. And the classic, Gabriel made a mistake. I was like, nah, man, it's Allahu Akbar 3 times, man. That's because of the conquest of Mecca. No, man, I'm telling you. They prayed towards Karbala. And that was like the first question when I got to Masjid al-Bayt. I was like, what direction, what city is that? The Kaaba, or Mecca. That's not Karbala? No, where do you, come on. Our Qibla is the Qibla. And it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind. So Dr. Jajani, Sayyid Ammar Nakashwani, I'm jacking up his name. But, and Masjid al-Bayt TV, like, I would just, like, you guys have like this intense like archive. So I would just be everywhere and nowhere. Like, I knew it was right, but I was still in Takia. And eventually I was just like, you know what? Forget it, man. Because this Shia in Pakistan, this Shia in Bahrain, the Shia in Iraq, who are getting killed. And they're openly Shia. And I'm here in the United States. So what do I got to lose? What do I got to lose? Friends? They're not really my friends. My brothers in Deen? They're not my brothers in Deen. If they're going to cut me off like that. So, I was like, yeah, I'm a Shia. And then everybody just started falling off. And this one brother was like, man, I love the Ahlul Bayt, but I won't worship them. And it was actually around the time of Ashura. And so I was like, okay, what are you doing on Ashura? I'm gonna fast, Habibi. I'm gonna fast. When did Imam Hussein alayhi salam die? The Ashura. No, yeah. How come you never heard about it on the minbar? I don't know. And he kept it at that. It's insane. It's insane. Like, yeah, it's crazy. See, it's twofold. One, when they give you the reason behind fasting on Ashura, it doesn't make any sense. If the Prophet Muhammad came with the correct deen, why is he pulling from Bani Israel? Oh, they fast? I have a greater right to Moses. We're going to fast. What? No, man. Like, it didn't make any sense. And even if you take it one step further, there are some Sunnis who say the fast on Ashura was negated by the fast in Ramadan. When the command came down to fast the 30 days in Ramadan, forget the Ashura fast. So like even then they're button heads with their own doctrine. But it's sad. It's really sad, Yeah. But when I found out about Imam Hussein alayhi salam, like it's like, come on, this is the last grandson of the last prophet is killed. And then you have the audacity to say Yazid radiallahu anh. What? Come on now. So wait, if Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the master of the youth in paradise, and you guys think Yazid's going to Jannah, that's gonna be an awkward meeting. Assalamu alaikum Yazid, no hard feeling, it's a dunya. Come on, what? Doesn't make any sense. Come on. And then when I found out about like what Aisha did and Hafsa and Umar, I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, and it's in their books. The man ran away like a goat. It's in their books. Come on, man. I'm sorry, but it was frustrating for so long, It was, and then one day, I'm in my kitchen. My wife, she had just become Muslim. Well, she's been Muslim 2 years now, alhamdulillah. And so we're in the kitchen one day, and she was like, Henry, what happened to the Prophet's family? Because she's like, he dies and then Islamic history is over. Like, that's how she was being taught. And I was like, that's the $1 million question. Now go do your research. And she, alhamdulillah, she did her research, and now I didn't pester her, but one day it was like Asr time, and she goes and grabs a turba and goes to pray after her namaz. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just praying. I was like, you just slide in the door. So alhamdulillah, she accepted Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and it just, and it's funny. My 2 former mentors from the Sunni mosque, it was from Sheikh Saduq's book, Merit to the Shia. And just in the introduction alone, there was a hadith that pointed to the wilayah of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Just in the introduction. It wasn't even Sheikh Saduq. It was the introduction. So I highlighted it, took a picture, sent it to my former 2 mentors. And I'm like, see, this proves that Imam Ali alayhi salam his rights were usurped because everything points to Ali, alayhi salam. All the Sunni hadiths. I can name them right now. And they're like, no, this proves that he was one of them. He's the fourth, da, da, da. And then after that, they said, all my scholars are and I quote, all my scholars are crackheads, muta-loving dogs. And these men are 60, 65 years old, mind you. And they're just rambling these nasty, nasty words. And I'm like, wait, you guys taught me to look for dalil, proof and evidence. I'm giving you proof and evidence, and now my scholars are crackheads? And they had the audacity. I read a hadith once from Al-Kafi. Which volume? Oh, it was on a piece of paper somewhere. You read a hadith on a piece of paper? I could write a hadith on a napkin. That doesn't mean it's sahih or it's even authentic. So it's like these 60, 65-year-old men so stuck in their ways. It's sad. It's sad. And so, well, I do what I always do. I did it when I did my dawah with the Christians and with the atheists. I went the mubahala route. I was like, let's do a mubahala, and whoever's wrong is wrong, and they go to Jahannam. No. I don't want you to go to hell. No, Habibi, come on. It's a sunnah. You guys are the beard, the pants. It's a sunnah. Come on. None of them. Nobody's to this day. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, Presbyterians, Sunnis, Sufis, Salafis. Nobody wants to do it. It's like, come on, man. See, Masjid al-Hubayt isn't as... See, Masjid Taqwa has been around since like 1981, 82. Imam Siraj al-Hajj. That's it. It's his masjid. And so like they're ingrained. Like they have like 300 people at the Jummah. Meanwhile, Masjid al-Bayt, we'd be lucky to have like 2 rows, and that's actually one thing I shake my finger at the Shia. They don't do outreach. The Shias don't do dawah. They don't do tabligh. They don't do anything. Like it's sad, it's sad. But and like the Jama'ah at Masjid al-Bayt, they're all older men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's like there's no really like they go to do a tawassul, do a kumail, Juma, but they're a bunch of old men, and I'm only one 30-year-old guy, I've brought up like let's do some outreach, No. But I'm like, you guys got the hawk. It's incumbent upon us to go and spread, But I don't know, like one of my goals long term is to like go to Hausa, finish Hausa. Well, you never really stop learning, and like come back to the States and Masjid Aba Abdullah, where it'd be like do a kumail, do a tawassul, but like then we'd have like intrafaith, like kind of like a Peshawar Nights kind of thing, 21st century. We'd have like a Sunni, a respectable Sunni who knows his stuff, and a respectable Shia, and then bring and let the people decide. Let the people decide, No, but just talk. Just bring your proofs. I'll bring my proofs, and let's do it, So, but yeah, that's long term. What needs to be done more? See, I'm not even Shia long enough to like. What needs to be done more? Well, first people need to stop going to these Facebook sheikhs and Google Molanas and these Majo wars, and there's even Shia who are anti-Marja, and they're like, oh, you Usulis. Like, yo, what are you guys doing, man? You guys are infighting. It's stupid. It's stupid, man. Come on. But yeah, like, or these memes were like these hadith with no references, and these people take it like it's gospel truth. No, come on, man. You crazy? So I think we need to get from behind the keyboard back in the books and like get dawah tables, man. It's too easy. It's too easy. Like I raised $15,000 one year. It was the summer of 2012. I raised $15,000, handing out Qurans in English and Spanish and all these pamphlets. I was on the trains in New York City, the subways. I got called a turncoat. I got called a terrorist. I heard it all. I heard it all. But it's like, I'd be here handing out my Qurans, and they'd be Nation of Islam. Because the Jehovah's Witnesses, they're even here in the UK. I saw them by, what was it? Queen, Bayswater. The Jehovah's Witnesses, man, they may not have the hawk, but they got the motivation and determination. And we got the hawk, and we got no motivation. Nothing. People want to cry on our shoulder. Oh, yeah, okay. But there's 11 months out of the year. Well, what are you doing then? What are you doing then, man? And it's like on Facebook, there's the Revert Muslim Association. It's an open group. And what I've been doing for the last couple of months is I offer new Shi'i and non-Shi'i from Hujjat bookstore here in the UK. I give them the link. I'm like, pick any books you want. I don't know how many you want. I'll pay for it, books and the shipping. And I know two people who've accepted the Ahlul Bayt alayhi Islam from just that alone. Just that alone. So I haven't done it in a while, actually. It's like 2 months. But from, it's, and there's genuine Sunnis who are like, I don't know anything about you guys. I hear this, I hear that. Then pick a book. Misconceptions about the Shia, it's yours. It's yours. Imamate and Imams, go, it's yours. Like, we gotta pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, man. Like, and I mean, I don't know. You guys are doing it, but then you're only one station. I'm only one person, and we got. There's no unity. I feel personally, and this is my fallible opinion, that we need to point out their books, and because like from what I've read and what I've learned, ISIS was created 1,400 years ago. Jemal, like, come on, what mother kills thousands of her own children? Come on, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So like, ISIS isn't nothing. Daesh is nothing new. It's just a revamped version of what's happened all through history. So we have to like make dialogue with the Sunnis. Be like, yo, it's in your books, man. Ibn Taymiyyah says my blood's halal. Like, let's talk about that, bro. Like, you guys respect Ibn Taymiyyah. Why is my blood halal? Why? So it's their books, man, and they're crazy, not crazy, like the way they interpret the Quran. It's like, listen, I know like 5-6 surahs by heart. That's it. But like, you can't take everything literally. Like, there was actually a sheikh in Saudi. He was like, everything in the Quran is literal. Man's blind, mind you. So somebody was like, yeah, sheikh, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says those who are blind in this life are blind in the next life. He's like, everything's literal but that verse. Because he don't want to be blind in the next life, It's silly. It's silly. And another thing is, like, their books and their leaflets and their translations of the Quran, especially the Noble Quran, I implore everybody to stay away from that translation. I'll get to that in a second. But they got the money. They got the oil money. They just propagate. We're not, like, because of my country's sanctions on Iran, I have to go to a third party, pay twice as much for the books. When I go to Ansariana site, it's pennies on the dollar for these books. But I'm paying £30 plus Royal Mail. Come on, like, I don't know, man. Like, they got the money. The Gulf states, man. I don't want to bring politics into it, but they just. But going back to the Noble Quran, while I was still a Sunni, there was this, I forget the ayat, but the brackets, anything in brackets I usually ignore. But the verse went something like, and slay them wherever you find them, and like use all of the means at your disposal. And the parentheses said planes, missiles, rockets, guns. I'm like, excuse me, Imam, were there planes and rockets in the 6th, 7th century? No, why? Well, because whoever translated this Quran put it in the parentheses. Oh, they're just updating it, for the modern era. I was like, what was used on the World Trade Centers? Planes. So why would you put planes in brackets in the ayat? Come on, it doesn't make any sense. And where was it printed? Saudi Arabia. Like, I finally got a Shi'i translation of the Quran by S.V. Ahmed. I forget his name. But anyway, that verse, there's no parentheses of like missiles, planes, And even at customs, they were like, so how do you feel about everything going on in the Middle East? I was like, hey, it's a travesty because they're killing my people too. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm a Shia. Like, they spray paint raw on the door, and they get it. The Christians get noon, and they get slaughtered, and the women get taken into slavery. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, man, because these guys aren't Islam. Come on. And even the Prophet ﷺ said, beware of those with the black flag. And what are these guys waving? A black flag. 2 and 2 is 4. Stay away from them. My fault is, personally, and I've even said this to my wife, I know the history, I got all the knowledge, but I still have trouble waking up for Fajr. I learn it, but my reaction and implementing it in my life isn't where I want it to be. So, I mean, I got to keep working. We all got to keep working, but To sum it up in a word, Dalil. Dalil. Always ask for proof and evidence. Always ask for the sources. If they can't give it to you, then don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. Even if it's a weak hadith in the chain, just ask for the proof. Always ask for proof. Never be shy about asking for Dalil. Never. Because this religion isn't about, just rukuz and prostrating. Like, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Come on, he was a scholarly man. Imam Bakr alayhi salam, scholarly man. Like, too many people inherit their religion and they don't learn it. People get caught up in these things like, is it haram to wear white socks? Like, really? That's what you're concerned about, white socks? Like, can we wear yellow? Like, wear yellow? Like, everything in the deen. That's your concern? That's your concern? Go buy a Quran for somebody. Like, there are Muslims in the United States that can't afford prayer mats, can't afford hijab, so they don't veil. They don't have access to a turba. They don't have al-kafi. Like, just in the East Coast alone, my wife and I, we mailed like over a dozen hijabs, burqas. Because one, there's no way to buy it in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's that's what we need to do. We need to get together and just start like outreach, just care packages, like new shahada kits. If you're a female, you get the hijab, the burqa, the Quran, and like another book on imamate. Or just put these, because even Why Islam, they got these new shahada packages. You get Bukhari, you get a copy of the Quran, you get a Kufi. Well, what are we doing? Come on, these guys spreading this Daesh stuff. Like, we gotta get off our butts, man. Get off our butts. Go start a GoFundMe. Go fund accounts. Just what's it called? Crowdsource. Raise the money, man. Like, for example, I wouldn't be here. Like, I know genuine people exist because I came here on the strength of somebody who I never met before, who brought me out here, who put me up, total stranger. So I know there's good in the Shia community. I know we can do it. We just gotta prioritize, man. Prioritize. And inshallah, I get into Hausa. I got accepted to Qom. I'm waiting on the visa. They said that could take 5 to 8 months. Inshallah, I get it sooner than that. And we'll go to Hausa, study, come back to the States, open up my center, and hopefully host a show on LBT. I don't know. See what happens.